Howdy. I'd like to talk about 2016 election, particularly in Iowa. For all the candidates that are running, I believe Bernie Sanders is the best one for America. And I believe that this election is very urgent. I think trillions of dollars are at stake. Our moral values are at stake. And our freedom and democracy is at stake. I believe that farmers, workers, women, men, students, parents, and seniors will all be far better off if Bernie Sanders wins. And of the candidates, like some people, the people that support Hillary Clinton, need to realize that she's not going to do as much to help America. And there's several reasons for that. First of all, she's not going to have the votes. She's not going to have the votes in the House. She won't be able to do anything if she doesn't have the votes in the House to pass anything. And she's not going to have the votes in the House because she's alienating male voters in the same way that nearly 60% of male voters were alienated by the Democratic Party leadership in 2012. You can look it up and see about 60% of men voted against the Democrats in 2012. That's because Democratic Party leadership alienated men. If Hillary continues to alienate the male vote, then she may lose the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Also, she's not willing to take on the corporate masters. She's not willing to take on the big banks, the drug companies, and the insurance companies to help women save money on banking fees and save money on drugs and insurance costs. So she's not really helping women because she cares more about the corporations. And also, she's not willing to greatly increase taxes on billionaires to pay for programs to create jobs and increase income for we the people. Now, another option would be Donald Trump. But he's not going to help America as much either. One of the problems is he's not going to increase taxes on billionaires either to pay for programs to create jobs and increase incomes for we the people. He's not willing to increase the minimum wage, which would help a lot of people. You know, it would help the biggest part of the workers in America have more money to live on. And even if he wanted to, he can't do anything about bringing American jobs back from communist China because he's not going to have the votes either. He won't have enough Democratic votes in the House to change things. In order to get our jobs back from communist China, you need to ban, limit, or tax low-wage factory imports. That's the only way to get our jobs, 5 million factory jobs, back from communist China. And Republicans support the free trade offshoring of millions of American jobs, and they'll oppose any efforts to take back our jobs. So if Donald Trump can't elect a Democratic House and get Democrats to help him take back our factory jobs from communist China, then even if he wanted to, he couldn't. So he doesn't want to help in the way that he can, and he won't be able to help. The only person that really is going to help this country is Bernie Sanders. One of the reasons he can help is because he will win control of the House. And the reason why is he runs an inclusive campaign. He tries to win the votes of both men and women, whites and minorities, Christians and other moral value voters, and all major voting blocs. He's not dividing, saying, I'm just on the side of men, or I'm just on the side of the women, I'm just on the side of whites, or I'm just on the side of minorities. He's going after every voting bloc, and because he's going to win control of the House, and he'll have the votes he needs to pass the legislation he needs. The other thing is he's leading a We the People revolution to take back America from the billionaires who offshored our American jobs, from the big banks who stole billions with criminal fraud and destroyed our economy, and from those who are servants of money rather than the servants of God. Okay, here's some examples of how to increase income of Americans. Raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour would also raise the wages of people making more than that. Raising wages by just $5 an hour could mean an income increase of $10,000 a year. Multiply that by 100 million workers, and that means $1 trillion more per year for American workers. Massive government spending on construction and installing windmills on farms would create 10 million new jobs, and it could create 40 million other jobs from cash flow effect. And so if you have $10,000 a year income increase for 50 million workers, that would be $500 billion more per year for American workers. Banning, limiting, or highly taxing low-wage factory imports could take back our 5 million high-paying factory jobs and generate 20 million other jobs from the cash flow side effect. Because anytime you have a good-paying job, the circulation of that money creates four other jobs. If you have $20,000 a year income increase for 25 million workers, that would mean $500 billion more for American workers. The Bernie Sanders Medicare for All plan could easily save families $1,000 a year in insurance and drug costs. Multiply that by 100 million families, and that means $100 billion more for Americans each year. Women need a Medicare for All plan to reduce medical costs. Therefore, Bernie Sanders is helping women in a way that Hillary Clinton doesn't want to help women in. She's opposed to a Medicare for All plan. Having tuition in college can save students $10,000 per year or more. Multiply that by 10 million students, and that means $100 billion more in the pocket of American students each year. Not to speak of money in the pockets of the parents who are helping to pay for the college. This is going to help female students in college, not just male. So he's helping women and as well as men. We need to install windmills on farms for energy independence and to combat global warming. Combating global warming means reducing deaths and economic damage from natural disasters. If you add just 2 windmills on a farm, it could increase farm income by $10,000 per year. Multiply that by 2 million farms, then that means $20 billion more in income for farmers each year. We need to understand that taxing billionaires to help the needy and help we the people is a morally right thing to do. Jesus said that billionaires must pay taxes and must provide for the needy. In Matthew 25:31 through 46, Jesus said that helping the needy is the same thing as helping God. In Matthew 22:21, Jesus said that billionaires must pay taxes. In Luke 18:22, Jesus said that billionaires should give their money to help the needy. Thus, Jesus Christ is advocating taxing billionaires and money from billionaires being used to help the needy. It's not just the followers of Jesus. It's moral value voters of other moral religious background also support the idea of having love and compassion on the needy. The only way we as a nation can afford to help the needy and greatly help we the people is to have greatly increase the taxes on billionaires. So it's part of our moral values and part of our needs for our own family, our own well-being. And people need to understand that the basic economics is that spending creates jobs, whether it's consumer spending or government spending. And the only way to finance massive government and consumer spending to create millions of jobs is by increasing taxes on billionaires. And Bernie Sanders is the only one that supports those programs. As far as various voting blocs, you can see that every voting bloc should support Bernie Sanders. Farmers should support Bernie Sanders. Every farmer should be an environmentalist, because if you don't have clean water and your crops are polluted, then you're not gonna be able to sell them. If you have a drought, you won't have any crops to sell. And the other thing is, so global warming hurts farmers, and dirty oil hurts farmers. So the other thing is if you put windmills on farms to help combat global warming, it also increases income for farmers. So supporting renewable energy is supporting farmers, and so the Bernie Sanders program of wanting to combat global warming and the environment is something that helps the farmers. So a farmer should support Bernie Sanders. Workers need to support Bernie Sanders, and because of his program of raising minimum wage and also taxing billionaires to create jobs and getting our jobs back. Democrats, when they vote, they need to understand that Hillary isn't going to be able to do that. She won't help workers. One reason is she's not going to greatly increase taxes on billionaires. But the other thing is, even if she wanted to help the workers, she won't be able to because she won't have the votes. She won't have control of the House. And the reason why she won't have control of the House is because she's not running an inclusive campaign. She always talks about helping women, never talks about helping men. She talks about helping minorities, not talking about helping whites. And she doesn't even go after the Christian voting bloc and act like she even cares about the Christian voting bloc. So she's not going to win the House. She'll be lucky to even win the presidency. And if you want to proof that she's not going to win the House, then just look at the facts. When has Hillary Clinton ever acknowledged that there are men's issues and explains what she's going to do to help male voters? When has Hillary ever explained what she's going to do to help white workers and who lost 5 million high-paying factory jobs to communist China through what she's going to do to help them? And how's Hillary ever explained her plans to support the Jesus moral value of using, raising taxes on billionaires to help create jobs and help the needy? She doesn't go after the male vote, the white vote, or the Christian vote, so she's not going to win control of the House. So, and she probably may not win presidency. Bernie Sanders will win the House because he runs an inclusive campaign to help everyone. Women should elect Bernie Sanders because he supports women's issues as well as men's issues, and things like free college tuition that helps women students, as well as men students. So he's inclusive, and his programs will do far more to help women because he's willing to take on the big banks to help women. Hillary isn't. He's willing to have a Medicaid for All program that will help women, and Hillary opposes the Medicare for All program. So he's going to do far more to help women, and he'll have the votes to help women. Men must elect Bernie Sanders. For one thing, it seems like a lot of politicians just turn their back on men and say, we don't care about men, we don't want to help men, we're not going to help men, and we don't care whether men vote for us or not. And that's why almost 60% of the men in the 2012 election didn't vote Democratic, because the Democrats were always telling men that they didn't want their vote, and they didn't care about men, they didn't care about the suffering of men, they didn't care about the issues of men, and they don't want men to vote Democratic. Well, so they didn't. Everyone must understand that loving one social group does not mean hating other social groups. White supremacists are wrong when they say loving the white race means hating other racists. That is racist. Radical feminists are also wrong when they say loving women means hating men. That is sexist. Some women have zero awareness, understanding, and compassion for the suffering of men and the issues of men. It is sexist and sexual hypocrisy for a woman to ask men to have awareness, understanding, and compassion for the suffering and issues of women, and not herself have awareness, understanding, and compassion for men, the suffering of men, and the issues of men. Why should any man vote for a woman who has zero awareness, understanding, and compassion for men, male suffering, and male issues. Why should any man vote for a woman who says nothing on the campaign trail on how she will help men and fight for men's issues? Everyone needs to fully understand that men have many of the same issues that women do. Here are some examples. Women need equal pay, but men need equal job opportunities. In some families, husbands have lost their high-paying factory and construction jobs so that their wives are now the breadwinners. Men demand that they be given back their high-paying factory and construction jobs. Men need jobs and income too. Women want education for better jobs. But the fact is that boys drop out of high school and fail to go on to college at a much higher rate than girls. Males need education equality. Women support health care for women. But the fact is, men die 7 years sooner than women. More needs to be done to change the diet, exercise, and health care habits of men to work toward longevity equality for men. Women support a Violence Against Women Act. But the fact is, far more males are victims of the violence of murder than are females. There is a need for a Violence Against Men Act to work to end the cause of deadly violence against men. Some say that most murder of men is done by other men, so we do not have to worry about it. Really? So, if the suicide of women is done by women, then we do not have to worry about female suicide? Sexual equality means equal compassion for male victims. We must learn the social and psychological reasons why men are murdered and victims at a much higher rate. Men have the right to live too. As long as Hillary Clinton always talks about fighting for women's issues and get female votes and never talks about fighting for men's issues to get male votes, she is telling men that she has zero understanding and compassion for the suffering of men and the issues of men and will do nothing to help men and win the support of men. If Hillary does not care about men and will not work for men's issues, then why should any man vote for Hillary Clinton? Unless she changes and proves to men that she has compassion for the suffering of men and is a champion of men's issues, then Hillary Clinton will lose the male vote by a landslide and therefore will lose the election. Every Democratic voter in the primary must fully understand the following. In 2014, Democrats lost the United States Senate because Democrats lost the male vote by a landslide. About 42% of men voted Democratic, while 58% of men voted Republican. How did the Democratic Party leadership tell men to not vote Democratic? Every time Democratic Party leadership said that the women's vote would give Democrats a victory, they told men that the Democratic Party does not need the votes of men in order to win. And when male voters are told that Democrats do not need them and their votes, then men go where they are wanted and needed and then vote Republican. Every time Democratic Party leadership said they would work hard for women's issues and said absolutely nothing about working hard for men's issues, Democratic Party leadership told men that Democrats have zero compassion for the suffering of men, zero understanding of the issues of men, and do not want men to vote Democratic. If Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee for president and presents herself as a champion for women and not a champion for men, then she will alienate the vast majority of male voters. As a result, 60% of men or more will vote Republican. As a result, Democrats will lose the presidency, not win back control of the Senate, and absolutely not win control of the House. The only way the Democratic Party can win presidency, win back the Senate, and win the House is to have a presidential candidate who is a champion of both men and women. The only Democratic candidate who can win the presidency, take back the Senate, and win the House is Bernie Sanders. Unlike Hillary, Bernie Sanders has an inclusive campaign where he wants to help both men and women. Bernie Sanders will work to give men back their good-paying construction and factory jobs. Bernie Sanders will fight provide free college tuition that's helping more boys to go on to college. Bernie Sanders will support health care for all people, and this could help to extend the lives of men so men don't die 7 years younger than women. And Bernie Sanders supports mental health programs. And maybe if we look at the social, psychological and social effects on men, maybe we could understand why so many people think it's okay for men to suffer and be killed. And maybe there'll be less violence against men and less murder of men. We need to understand that, and we need to change that in our society. Okay, and the other groups, the students obviously must support Bernie Sanders. He's the only one that is going to have tuition-free college. Parents who love their children, therefore, should support Bernie. Seniors should support Bernie. He's going to increase the income from Social Security and expand Medicare for all. He's helping seniors have medical coverage and better income. And the one thing is Hillary isn't going to take on the drug companies to lower drug costs. She's not going to take on the insurance companies to lower medical costs. She's not going to provide a single-payer Medicaid for all system that cuts cost to help people. But Bernie Sanders will increase Social Security. He will decrease the cost of medicine, and he will provide Medicaid for our program, which will greatly reduce the cost of medicine for seniors. Seniors need to support Bernie. All Americans need to understand that our moral values are at stake. In Matthew 6:24, Jesus said that you cannot serve both God and money. There is a spiritual war in America between the religion of God and the religion of money. The religion of God teaches us to tax billionaires and that helping the needy is the very same thing as helping God. The religion of money teaches us to cut taxes on billionaires and let poor people die. Moral value voters in America must kick out of office all politicians who serve money with tax cuts on billionaires and who cause God to suffer by cutting social programs that feed God when God is hungry. Only Bernie Sanders wants to greatly increase taxes on billionaires. All moral value voters must work hard to elect Bernie Sanders. There's also a war in America, a war to destroy our freedom and our democracy. We the people need to have the freedom to establish the laws that we want, regardless of what global economic kings say. America started as a revolution against kings ruling America. We need another revolution against global economic kings ruling America. The World Trade Organization and the Trans-Pacific Partnership gives power to the economic kings to order America to pass the laws that they want, rather than pass the laws that we the people want. The World Trade Organization must be replaced with a World Economic Democracy Organization. Then workers, consumers, and citizens can sue companies for denying good-paying jobs to workers, denying safe products to consumers, and denying clean water and air to citizens. If companies want to sue governments for having laws that protect their workers, their consumers, and their citizens, it's time we got rid of the World Trade Organization, establish a World Economic Democracy Organization, and then let workers, consumers, and citizens sue the companies for hurting workers, consumers, and the citizens of the country. Of the country. Okay. Only Bernie Sanders is leading a revolution of we the people against the global radical billionaires who wants to destroy our freedom and our democracy. In summary, for the sake of all Americans, we the people of every voting bloc must work as hard as we can to elect Bernie Sanders. If you care about your voting bloc and all voting blocs, people of both sexes, people of all races, people of all ages, people of all religious backgrounds, the morality of love and compassion, and we the people democracy, then you must work as hard as you can to elect Bernie Sanders. Iowa will elect Bernie Sanders. New Hampshire will elect Bernie Sanders. America will elect Bernie Sanders. Thank you very much.